Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. And now game week 2 is done and dusted for the World Cup, so we're going to go over what happened in game week 2 and look forward to this week's action on game week 3. And we start off then with the first group, Pool A. And after this weekend's results that have just been, obviously France beat Uruguay only just they made it hard work. Didn't get a bonus point, that could be interesting. Made it hard work for themselves, got the win in the end. And obviously New Zealand battered Namibia as we probably all expected, 76 points to 3. Which leaves the group with France on top on 9 points. Then New Zealand are currently in second on 5. Italy, who had their bye week, are still on 5 points with 1 win. And then come Uruguay and Namibia. So with this week's action in Pool A, you start off with Italy versus Uruguay, which is a massive game realistically for both teams, because Italy, who will have hopes of trying to get to a quarter-final, their first ever quarter-final, will want to continue the momentum from the Namibia game a couple of weeks ago, and they'll want to beat Uruguay. But even then, this is a big game for Uruguay, who have just come off a brilliant performance against France and could be smelling blood against Italy. They will be targeting this game as one that they can cause an upset in, and possibly, if they did cause an upset, they could end up finishing third and re-qualifying for the next tournament. I do think Italy will have it over them though. There's just that little bit more quality, and I think last week's game probably took a lot out of Uruguay, and they're not used to having games week in, week out at such a high standard. Italy have had a bit of a rest. They'll come back, and I think they'll win. I think it'll be hard. I think it'll be close, and I wouldn't be surprised if Uruguay get a bonus point or two. But I believe Italy should have this one in the bag. As for the other game, it's France versus Namibia. And as I'm recording this, the teams have been announced, and my word, France have brought back the cavalry again. The big players, Dupont, Olivon is back, Jalabert's back, Ramos is back. This could be a cricket score. Namibia have changed quite a lot of their players as well. I don't know whether they're resting some of their big players for next week's game against Uruguay. But yeah, this is only going one way, and it's going in a France bonus point. We move on to Pool B then, and the weekend's activity in Pool B saw Ireland beat Tonga by a fair margin, and South Africa absolutely romp Romania. Right, I don't know what's going on with Romania. I know they're in a bit of a crisis rugby-wise at the moment. It looks like they're a bit of a crisis on the pitch. I knew that they would struggle against Ireland and South Africa in the opening 2 weeks, but my word, they're just being cut open. Cobus Reinach got another hat-trick in the World Cup. Mapimpi got a hat-trick. Some big performances there from the South Africans, but it was too easy in the end. And with the Ireland-Tonga game, bit closer. Tonga gave Ireland a good fight in the first half. I think Ireland just had too much strength for them. People were saying how it could be an upset, but in the end Ireland just had that little bit more quality than Tonga did, and they pushed through in the end. But there were good signs there from Tonga. But this weekend is massive for Pool B, as the top 2 teams in the group, rank 1 in the world and rank 2 in the world, Ireland and South Africa, collide with each other in an absolutely monumental game on Saturday. This is going to be huge, and I have no idea which way it's going to go. The winner will all but seal their place in a quarter-final, and I would probably imagine the winner will most likely go on and win the group as well. But either way, they'll both want to win it. They'll both want to top the group, and also I believe if South Africa win this game, then they go as into the rest of the tournament as the top-ranked team in the world. So it's going to be a toughie. It's going to be very, very close. It's going to be down to the wire stuff. 2 amazing teams, probably the 2 best teams in the tournament so far. But yeah, I feel like South Africa might edge it. I think South Africa might just edge it. And the other game, another big game in the group, Scotland versus Tonga. Big game for both teams. If Tonga want to cause an upset and get out of this group at all, then they have to beat Scotland. And it's massive for Scotland as well, because obviously they have their own eyes on getting out of the group, and they have to win this game. And realistically, they probably need a bonus point after Ireland got a bonus point against Tonga last weekend to have any chance of getting through the group. And I think they'll do it. I think Scotland will do it. As strong as I think Tonga will be, Scotland will just be another level for them, and Scotland should eventually win the game. We move on to Pool C then, and it's in the last week of action. We saw Wales beat Portugal. A very good performance from Portugal, may I add. Amazing performance from them, putting Wales to a real test in that one, but they came through eventually and got a bonus point. And as well as that, Fiji beating Australia, which has thrown this group wide open and currently leaves Wales at the top on 10 points, then Australia and Fiji on 6, and then Portugal and Georgia, who currently don't have any points. That massive result for Fiji against Australia is huge, and that now means that this weekend's game, Wales versus Australia, is massive for both teams. If Wales win it, they will most likely secure their quarter-final spot. If they lose it, they still have another opportunity, but it will be made so much harder for them. Australia, on the other hand, have to win. If they lose, they will most likely be out. If they win, they can put themselves in a better position, but then have to... And then they have Portugal, which would be a fairly easier game. So Australia would want to win this one, and they'll want to... if they lose, they're out of the tournament. So, massive game for both teams. But from what I've seen, I feel like Wales have shown a little bit more of a threat than Australia have. I even think when Australia beat Georgia, they didn't play at their best. Wales have shown good signs. They showed good signs against Fiji. They showed a very good defence against Portugal, albeit the attack wasn't very on form, but they got tries when they were available to them. I think Wales might edge it and seal their place in the quarter-final in this one. And for the other game in the group, Georgia versus Portugal. This one not as much of a big game. Georgia will want to obviously re-qualify for the next tournament, and if they have any hopes of doing that, they'll need to realistically get a bonus point against Portugal. I think they'll do it. These two play each other on a regular basis in the European Rugby Championship, the second tier below the Six Nations. And Georgia win majority of the time, so they should be able to get through, get a bonus point on Portugal, and get themselves back into the group. Then we finish off with Pool D. On the back of last week's performances, you saw Samoa beat Chile to kickstart their campaign, and England take full control of the group after beating Japan in a very close encounter. It makes this group fairly interesting. Samoa and Japan are now on 5 points each, and obviously Argentina had their bye week, but England are now in full control of the group after last week's action. And this weekend, we see Argentina play Samoa, which is a massive game for both. Argentina need to win to stay in contention of a quarter-final spot, and Samoa will be looking for an upset. I feel like they're good enough for an upset. They're good enough to get into the quarterfinals. We've seen a lot of good stuff from them, but I feel like Argentina are going to be a wounded animal, and I feel like they'll have the edge over them. But I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if Samoa pulled off an upset on this one, and I think they'll get something from it. But I do think Argentina will push on, win it, and get what they need out of it. And the other game in the group is England versus Chile. England win and they're pretty much through to the quarterfinals, and yeah, I think they'll do it. I think it'll be quite comfortable. I feel like they'll change around some of their teams, so it'll be a bit closer. Chile might give them a good go in the first half, like they've done with Japan and like they've done with Samoa, but in the end, fitness will take control, and England should see off Chile and confirm their quarterfinal spot. So yeah, that's my thoughts on last week's and this upcoming week's games. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in a bit.